Have you just finished building the Viking home of your dreams, but notice it's empty on the inside? Well, then you've come to the right place. This easy follow-along guide will show you how to make 5 advanced furniture builds using late-game materials. From Elven-style bookshelves to huge glass weapon displays, these exotic furniture pieces are sure to elevate the interior of your house. Every build here was designed with practicality in mind, being able to fit into smaller homes and having clear functional purpose and storage capability. Now, let's get to it. First up, we've got probably the easiest one to make, an Ashen Bow Shelf. This first build and many of the others are going to utilize the dark ash wood from the Ashlands biome, so make sure you stock up on a ton of that before you set out to make any of these. Like I said, this one's pretty simple. You don't have to do too many weird and quirky build connection tricks to pull this one off. And I really like how this one utilizes that tree motif lattice kind of window. I've been trying to use that in a lot more of my builds, and man, it's just so cool. I can't get enough of using that thing. The lattice backing on this piece makes it a really good furniture item to put like in front of a window, because then you'll have all the light coming in from the sun through the window onto whatever you're displaying on the shelf, and you'll also be able to see into your house better from outside of the house through the window, since it's not just like a flat wall covering it up. And for a lot of these builds, I'm not always using like snapping attached things like these beams. I'm free placing them so I can get like a little different design of them going on. If you free place them on the top like this, you can make like a really nice flush rectangle top of it that you couldn't do if it was just being snapped into place. And same thing when you're making the top of this cabinet. I want it kind of flush ever so slightly. I make a room for a little indent just because I feel like that's what's most visually appealing for this piece. And I just free place them to get them exactly where I want them to. And when you're putting ashwood furniture in your house, lighting is really important, like getting good light reflecting off it like really close, because the ashwood is dark. It is really dark. If it's in like a unlit house, it'll just look black and untextured, so you really want to put these next to light sources, or just put light sources directly next to them. You can even put it like torches on it. And it's pretty much done at this point. I like putting this new undead bear skull on top, like it's your crown trophy from hunting with your bows. But decorate it however you like. Looks good with a rug underneath, and there you go. The second build, this one's definitely my favorite. It's this really beautiful tall glass storage case, and I built this one specifically to display the Slayer, that giant greatsword, but you could put anything in it. Especially looks good with long type weapons like that, because it's a very long and tall display case. So we're going to use these short Groston pillars so we can put like a 3-unit height flametal pillar for the whole thing. And I really like the flametal's rainbowy sheen for this one. I think it really goes well with the glass. And if you notice, I'm specifically placing the glass pane to cover up the ridges on the interior of these metal pillars. So the glass should line up kind of flush with the outermost ridge of the pillar, if that makes sense. And I'm temporarily placing an extra pillar just connecting to the outside before I break the stone one, because if you break the stone one, obviously the pillar on top is just going to crumble away because it's not supported. So that temporary one on the outside is going to support it while we have time to correctly place the underneath one. Put glass on all 3 sides except for the back. And it's really simple to place the middle and top glasses afterwards. Just set your snapping to connect to bottom, and it'll be super easy like this. So for the back, we're going to put like just kind of anything underneath so we can place the top one first, and we're going to use that tall Groston slab, and you're just going to line it up to be flush with the back face of the pillar, like how we did with the glass. Then for the bottom one, just kind of fiddle with the snapping until it lets you connect it directly underneath the top one. And now, the hard part is over. So the fun part, just break the glass in the middle, or put your weapon there before, I kind of forgot. And, you know, just put an item stand and boom, put your big Slayer. Now I'd recommend putting a weapon that has a glowing effect in there, because it's going to give it a light source and look very interesting. But the Slayer just looks so cool in there, in this long, tall display case. And it kind of gives the vibe that, like, the Slayer needs to be kept in here to contain its bloodlust, and it's got that swirling evil enchantment effect, dripping blood. It gives it a really sinister but very cool and impressive vibe. And as you can see, we use the 1x1 Groston slabs for the top. Just gotta put one in the middle so you can place them correctly. Then just break the glass and break the temporary slab when you're done. And there you go. A very beautiful looking display case for your favorite weapon. It really gives it the respect it deserves. Alright, number 3. So this is going to be the most kind of technical and tricky one to build, but if you follow along this guide, you'll have no problem pulling it off. So this is going to be like a long black metal chest capable cabinet. And it's going to have a lot of room to put things on top, and can fit 2 black metal chests inside, so it has tons of storage. Very practical, this one. So this one's very important that you like follow exactly how I do it, because most of this is going to be done with free placing. Snapping is not going to be viable here to pull off this design. And so for the back, it's going to be easy. It's going to snap everything into place. But you're going to have to free place these corner pieces, these beams on the corner, and then free place the beams on the side as well. And keep in mind the wood paneling on the side is 1.5 board lengths. So the second board, if you notice, I clipped in to the first one, so it creates a 1.5 length. And we're going to do the same thing with the beams on top. And we're just going to place a temporary beam so we can place it correctly. So yeah, place this long beam in front. Then we're going to easily place the beam in the back. And then we're going to clip the beam in the front halfway into the one in the back. And break the temporary beam. With all these vertical beams in the corners, you have to also put one underneath, because it's not going to fully reach the ground. But you can easily clip that one. And one of my favorite parts about this build are these tree lattice boards that you kind of implement into the wood paneling to give it a little bit more depth and style. So you're just going to kind of free place the ones on the side, then also free place one on the back, but then you can clip the second one to the edge of it. And you kind of just want to put them flush up against the wood boarding, so there's no gap in between them. So now we are going to build the front part, which also contains the wood doors for the cabinets. So you're gonna, put the snapping on the bottom and kind of clip that beam of the shutter into the beam of the table itself. And then you can snap the other one just right next to each other. And you'll notice there's a gap in the center, but have no fear, because we're just gonna pop a wood beam in there. And there you have it. That's kind of the most challenging part of this build done. As you can see, functional wood shutters. And now we're going to put our humongous black metal chests on the inside. Now you can do this before making the front if you want. It might be a little easier, but it's super easy no matter what. Just kind of put them in there. There's enough room for 2. The clipping ain't even hard. You got a lot of room to move them around in there. It's really amazing just how much storage capability is in this piece, while also making it, an actual furniture item and not just putting chests everywhere. We're going to get to use the 2x2 ashwood floor for the top, so this is going to be pretty simple. Let's use the auto snapping mode, and I kind of like to put it ever so slightly recessed, so It gives it a nice edge on top of the table with those beams. And there you go. Putting 2 down and you have tons of space to decorate the top. Now what I like to do for a few builds is to actually use the crafting upgrades for stations as a decoration. So you can kind of just put the crafting main table down, then put the upgrade on something and just break the table and the upgrade will stay there. So I really like using this skull wreath for the enchantment table for a lot of things really, and I think it looks really good in the middle of this. And you know, decorate however you want. This can be like the dresser near your front door, you know, put your swords there, put your axes there, like you're gonna take them when you leave to go out on an adventure. Put some candles there, pots. With a lot of these furniture pieces, I like putting a rug either directly under it or in front of it. And I really like this Asksvin lizard rug, how it's like patchworky, very stylish. This is definitely the most unique furniture idea in the list, just based on its unique functionality and purpose. This is going to be a black wolf style reliquary. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of just like a sacred box meant to hold like an artifact of holy or cultural significance. This one's a little tricky to build too, so just line up these beams, free placing them in that spot by the wolf's ear towards the front. And if you do that in the middle of the wolf's ears, you'll line them up perfect. And then you kind of just free place the other beams like I did. And you can snap these sideboards pretty easily on, so you don't have to worry about that. Just make sure you align the 2 wolf's heads completely symmetrical to make this build work. And yeah, line up the boards on top as well, free placing as well. A lot of free placing in these builds. And the main form of it is pretty complete. The hard part now is putting the diverger grating on the front. So you're going to want to put a torch to see better and just line up a tall beam directly on the side, and then you'll have to break that siding that we just did. And also for the inside, you're going to want to put that stuff in there. So I like putting this hay, so it's like a bedding for the artifact that you're going to put in there. I think it's a very good use for the hay. And so get the diverger grate and do the snapping on top 2. And if you put the board or the beam there correctly, it should line up pretty perfectly. And we're clipping the bottom part of the grating into the floor. So that's how we are making a small form function out of that giant grate. Now we can remake the wall that we just broke. So top beam can be placed just how you did in the first way. But for the bottom beam, you're going to want to put a beam on top and then snap a tall one underneath. It's going to be hard to like place it the way you did before because the grate's in the way. And I forgot to put the artifact inside here. You're going to want to do that first before you put the grate, but if you want to change the artifact later, just break the top. It's super easy. And I like putting like a weapon in here that glows. So it's like, this is the resting place for this sacred weapon. This is a nice place to keep it and lets people come and like worship it. Like maybe this is something crazy like the Master Sword, something very culturally significant. And it's really cool. It creates this really unique aura for whatever you put in there. I really like the 2 wolf's heads on the back. Creates a very fierce vibe. And if this is a sacred artifact, you gotta add candles, because people are coming here to, you know, take care of this thing and pay their respects to it. So that definitely creates that vibe. For number 5 and the last furniture piece on the list, we've got something very easy to make. This one's very fun just because how easy it is, and it uses some fun materials like this large lattice backing. It's going to be an Elven style bookshelf or Gothic style bookshelf, kind of maybe a combo of both. It's going to utilize some arches, stone arches on the top that look very elven to me. So yeah, just start with the tall Groston siding, then this one you can snap pretty much everything, so that's why it's very easy. And you're going to put those pillars in the corners, then the 2 arches on the top. Very simple. And we're going to put a little connector on the top between them. When you're making furniture in Valheim, it's very important to come up with like a simple theme of like material styles, you know, biome style that the furniture is going to be or wants to represent. So you don't want to use like every single material in one furniture item, you know. I'd stick to like 2 or 3 main materials. And you kind of just decorate it however you want. I mean, there's not actual books in the game, which is a shame. So you can't actually put those on the bookshelf, but you know, you got these cubbies to put all your trinkets, your gold, your jewels, put some candles, put a whole sack of flour down there for some reason, and put some wolf's pelts there, because if it's a bookshelf and you're reading, you want something comfy to sit on. So, I hope you guys liked these 5 advanced furniture builds, and were able to make some of them for yourself. These are sure to impress your friends and give you a lot of ideas to fill up your empty house, you know, make it more homey, make it more yours. The interior of a house is just as important as the outside. And if you guys want to subscribe, that would really mean a lot to me, and that would give me a lot of motivation to keep making guides like this one. But anyway, have a good night everyone, have a good day, and Tutorial Bird will return.